It can be either round or wrinkled.
Mrs. Breitkreutz, a teacher here at Hempfield High School, had to overcome many difficulties in order to get where she is today. Nella Breitkreutz grew up in Sarajevo, Bosnia, and was in her third year of medical school when the war in Bosnia started.
One morning, as I was eating breakfast, there was a message on the radio not to leave house because they were shooting downtown.
Her and her family were house-ridden for days. Their only means of information was the television and radio.
Eventually, one morning, we came out the house, and maybe 100 feet away, there was a house on fire. It was burning. Our house had a couple of bullet holes, and my dad then decided to send my sister and I away.
The plan was to escape to the airport in the back of her father's ambulance.
I'll never forget my sister and I under that blanket, holding each other's hands and thinking, well, hopefully we'll get there. We were very scared, actually, because that was the first time in my life where I thought, my father was this big, humongous man. He was 6'4", and he was a really big man, very powerful man. And it was the first time in my life where I realized, if they find us, there's nothing he can do. He does not have a gun. And so it was very scary. Luckily, we made it to the airport, and the airplane we were supposed to board was completely full. And I remember my dad saying, just get in any airplane, just fly out of here.
Nella, along with her twin sister, were able to board a plane, and they eventually made it to Germany, where their aunt was living at the time.
Came there, didn't speak a word of German, so started learning the language. And then after a year of learning the language, we attended nursing school.
Nella graduated nursing school, and in 1997, her visa expired, and she was being sent back home.
So I was going back to an area with a Serbian name where Serbians were hated, pretty much. So it wasn't the best combination. So I applied for a special program for refugees to come here to the United States, and I luckily eventually was allowed to come here with a refugee status.
After a year of working in a nursing home, Nella attended Millersville University, where she had to overcome many challenges.
My sister and I went through all the classes together, went through all of the open the dictionary and translate decrease and increase and common denominator. What is that? Let's look it up first, and then let's study what it actually is. So I don't think I had literally a minute of time where I did not study or did not learn how to type, and I had to make a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so what is a PowerPoint presentation, first of all? How do you do that? So figuring things out, or using Excel for the first time. You know, everybody already knew how to do that because you learned it in school here. I haven't even used computer before I came here. So it took me tremendously a lot of time to figure everything out, to learn everything, how to do it, and then language on top of that.
After graduating from Millersville University, Nella moved to North Carolina, where she got her first job as a teacher. However, in 2003, her father passed away from cancer.
It was so difficult that I realized I'm so far away from my sister. She was in Lancaster, I was in Charlotte. We didn't see each other much, and my husband and I literally at the end of the summer decided we'll pack everything up, we'll quit our jobs, and we'll come back to Lancaster just to be closer.
After moving back to Lancaster, Nella got a job at Hempfield, where she has been teaching students biology ever since.
So you really need to understand what's going on to be able to do that, okay?
Mrs. B, she is just an amazing teacher. She treats her students as her own kids. She wants everyone to do the best in her classes. If you ever have trouble with something, she's always there to help you with anything. That's the big thing that I love about Mrs. B.
Mrs. Breitkreitz's story has inspired some of her students.
It did inspire me, her background story of how she went through the struggles of the Civil War in Bosnia, how they had to be in the back of an ambulance and had to go to the United States. It's just very inspiring, and I look at her as a role model.
Mrs. Breitkreitz's past has taught her to work hard, and she uses her experience to inspire her students. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Morgan Minnich.
The first terms I would like you to know is the term wild type. Wild type simply means common in nature. So